okay, we've talked about your one of your successes and one of your kind of showcase projects. We're going to change the mood slightly. What's one of the biggest mistakes that you've made along the way? And how can anyone watching, how can this benefit us, and how can we maybe avoid making the same mistake? I know I've got millions that I've been sharing, but how can we prevent maybe, let's use this as in a positive way and see if we can help others.
I suppose that the biggest mistake I made, or it's probably not even necessarily a mistake, it's a didn't know what I didn't know type thing, is when I launched the business. Sort of 6 months in, it was sort of almost like sitting and going, I'm an award-winning architect, why are people not knocking down my door and coming to me? And it was
I think you have a bit of adrenaline though, don't you, when you set up your business and you put so much passion and so much energy, and you get to a point where you launch it and you've been working on it for a year already, but nobody else knows that. So I can empathise with that straight away.
So it's sort of, I'm a massive advocate of investing in myself, and it's sort of, I'm perhaps slightly a control freak on this, but I like to understand how everything around me works. Not necessarily to do it all, but just to have an understanding of it. And that's the role of a director or an entrepreneur or a business owner, is understanding how everything works. So invest really heavily in yourself. And even now, sort of 7 odd years down the line, I still spend a lot of my year going on different courses, learning different ideas, different marketing strategies, different growth strategies. I read books like you can't imagine.
That's great.
And but it never ends. You know?
That's a great tip, and something I really identify with myself, especially when you're working in property and investment. The marketplace is changing so quickly, and you find people do burn out in property too, so there's always somebody snapping at your heels. There's always the next new kid who's just as energetic and passionate as you were 5 years ago. So I think it's in property particularly, I've found personal development and self-development and education and keeping ahead of others and keeping abreast, and also it's a really great way to network. And I know before we started the interview, we were chatting about some mutual contacts that we have purely on a Facebook sense, and we know about people's lives, and we connect and we're friends, and it's a great way to do business and extend your business network.
Facebook's a great example of this. Personally, I'm a very private person. You won't see much about my wife or my kid or my world.
Dinner.
And for about 18 months ago, people started trying to add me on Facebook, and I said, no, this isn't, this is my world, this isn't. And it just sort of, it clicked. Maybe I was reading a blog, or I can't remember exactly why, but I set up a brand new Facebook profile.
I think that's a great idea, a great tip, another great tip.
And that is I almost use it like a LinkedIn. That's the image that I want people to see from me. And I still have like my old profile, which is sort of me partying in university, and I don't even really
people will be
use it
searching
anymore.
For that one now, Grant.
You won't find it. And it's very private, and I don't really go on to it anymore. And then I used my new Facebook profile to build a black book of contacts, and as a medium to sell my services, and I'm very open about it, to market and grow the business. Why I'm here today is probably because you found me through Facebook.
Absolutely.
And I aggressively go around and add people. And some people get, oh, who are you? Why are you adding me? Piss off. And I go, well, you know what? If you don't want to be friends, that's fine.
But I think there is this huge network on Facebook, and I think this is for a lot of investors, this is an untapped network as well. And I know there's perhaps 3, 4, 5 very popular property groups, and I counted up, there's probably about 60,000 across the breadth of these groups. And I know everybody knows everybody, and when you go to a networking event, you know people from Facebook. And I actually think I prefer using Facebook networking for property and for business than using LinkedIn. I actually think it's a much more user-friendly tool, and much like yourself,
it's not just that psychology behind it. Somebody goes onto LinkedIn, they're in business mode. They're in, I'm going to share something formal about my business. Somebody goes on to Facebook and they're ranting a bit about politics or about something that's annoyed them that day, or so their total mindset's different. So you are talking on a more informal, friendly basis. And think about it in the real world. If somebody sends you through an advert for printers, for talk's sake, you go, I don't need a printer, you've been it. Whereas if you're out networking and some guy buys you a drink and says, oh, by the way, I sell printers, and you go, I don't really want to know about printers, and you go, well, come on, just let me have a chat with you about it. And you go, well, okay. So it's because you're in that social environment,
Yes.
and your mindset's differently, that you can actually have those conversations.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right, and I know I struggled like yourself to find the balance between personal and business, and in the end I ended up just doing everything public, and I don't post as much personal posts anymore. Everything I post is public, because I do have a little bit of a public profile with what I do with the homeless, but I almost missed my private Facebook, you know, my old friends, and I have a bit of a mixture now. I have all my old school friends, and I have all these property investors, and it's quite interesting when politics and we have elections and Brexit and things like that, because I have all the homeless people on one side and all the property investors on the other, so I have quite an interesting news feed around political times.
And that's actually the downside of aggressively adding people, is that sometimes you see stuff in your feed and it's so detached from your own belief structure and your own personal ideas that you get really quite sort of like, what the hell is wrong with you, you know, and so you find yourself unfriending people a lot as well.
It's true.
You know, just because they're not your type of people.
It's true, but on the other side of things, it also kind of brings people together as well. You know, you seek out the people that, you know, naturally drawn to people that are like you, or emulate, you know, you emulate people like yourself. And I found, like you say, as much as it shows up people who you think they're not my type of person at all, it also brings people to you who are totally on your wavelength, and you can work really well. And I know some great business relationships and partnerships that have been built off the back of Facebook meetings and networking. So that's a really, really great tip. Thanks for sharing, Graham.